The Buffalo Bills had some gaps to fill in this year's draft, especially when it came to their wide receiver room. They recently traded their star receiver Stephon Diggs to the Texans after some expected he would be gone after the season due to some attitude issues and tweets from his brother. The Bills needed to fill in that spot and find Josh Allen another receiver next to Khalil Shakir, who had a great finish to the season. The Bills ended up doing a handful of trades in this year's draft to add to their draft haul and even ended up helping the Chiefs trade up in the draft, which when I was watching, I was so surprised that they did that. They needed a wide receiver and felt like they could still trade their 28th pick with the Chiefs and still get a receiver that they wanted the whole entire time, because we all saw and are aware of Xavier Worthy breaking the NFL 40-yard dash record, but the Buffalo Bills had their eyes set on another receiver the whole time. Buffalo understood that Kansas City has been interested in Xavier and would help their draft haul, so decided it wasn't going to be a problem anyways. They would have rather taken extra draft picks knowing they're not even going to pick Xavier Worthy anyways, even though it still leaves me questioning why they would help Kansas City get the fastest receiver in the draft. The Buffalo Bills, with the first pick in the second round at number 33, selected wide receiver from FSU, Keon Coleman. I'm not sure if you've seen by now his viral, hilarious first impression at his press conference with the Bills after being drafted. He already brings great energy to this wide receiver room after most would agree that chemistry wasn't flowing the best last year, with certain players getting upset or feeling like they weren't being used enough. But now with Keon Coleman, Josh Allen has a receiver who he can trust in. Keon was a great receiver in college last year as he helped lead FSU to an undefeated season, as we all saw what was he able to do with Jordan Travis until he got injured. Who knows, they could have possibly even went to the national championship and won if he didn't get injured. Keon last year for FSU recorded 50 receptions for 658 yards and 11 touchdowns, and the year prior he led Michigan with 58 catches for 798 yards and 7 touchdowns in 2022. He is a very physical receiver who runs routes really nicely and can find the ball up high if you throw it up to him. The Bills were not threatened at all by Kansas City getting Xavier, since they believe in the player that Keon will develop into as he consistently improved in his college career, and with Josh Allen as the quarterback, the sky's the limit for him. We already saw great strides for Khalil Shakir towards the end of the season last year, even outplaying Diggs in some games. Buffalo lost both of their main receivers, so bringing in another talent receiver in the draft was the absolute best thing they could have done. It took a little longer than Bills fans expected, but the Bills started off the second round of the draft great by selecting their wide receiver they believe will help elevate this offense. Keon Coleman was also a former top 10 prospect as well in this year's draft class, which we can't forget about. FSU had a firepower offense led by a quarterback, Jordan Travis, before he was injured. He was a Heisman candidate before that injury, potentially being a winner. Keon wants to go into Buffalo with the same high-level performance and go out there with Josh Allen and dominate. Keon feels like FSU got robbed by not making the playoffs after having an undefeated season and could have done more, so having that chip on his shoulder will help him have a breakout year in his first year with Josh Allen in the Bills. Like I said, he will be able to improve a ton with this offense, and Josh will help him improve as a receiver in this league. An NFL analyst even said that he's an above-rim monster and does incredibly well at mossing defenders. You could even say Keon has probably the best ball skills in the entire draft class. It's honestly surprising that he fell in the second round. A lot of mock drafts had him going in the late first round, so the Buffalo Bills definitely got a steal in their most needed position. Keon doesn't have the fastest 40-yard dash time, but he plays much faster than that. Some scouts says he lacks separation, so it'd be interesting to see how he adjusts to the NFL defenses he will be going up against. The Bills could have gotten the faster receiver if that's what they were worried about, but that's not what they were worried about. A lot of people also had Adonai Mitchell going a lot higher in the draft but fell, and the Bills were also a team that could have drafted him but decided to go with another option. Keon will go into Buffalo and immediately improve the offense by giving Josh another target that can help get him yards after the catch, which Keon does a good job of doing. The Bills did exactly what they needed to do, drafting a talented receiver to help this offense, but some would say they are entering a rebuild time since they lost a lot of pieces to this defense like Jordan Poyer and Trey White. It was known they needed a receiver as they had so many chances to grab multiple but only ended up drafting one with 10 of their draft picks. General manager Brandon Beane says he likes the receiver group they have and isn't expecting to make a big trade or anything like that. The Bills needed help in the safety room, so they went ahead and drafted Cole Bishop. Cole Bishop is a versatile 6'2" safety who played a variety of different roles for Utah. Starting 29 of 35 games in college, Bishop made 197 tackles, 21.5 tackles for loss, 7.5 sacks, 14 passes defended, and 3 interceptions. He made second team All Pac-10 as a junior. Cole had a solid college career and landed himself a spot with the Bills that needed a safety badly. Bishop joined safeties Taylor Rapp and DeMar Hamlin, along with free agent Mike Edwards, who they picked up from the Chiefs, and hoping to to meet the high standard that Poyer and Hyde set. It was a shock to majority of Bills fans, even fans around the league, when the Bills decided to release Jordan Poyer and Trey White, but they had to make the right decisions for the future of the franchise that they felt would benefit them in the long run. They may have lost a lot of the big names that were on this team, but the Bills finished the regular season very strong last year and could still compete at a high level in the AFC. Bringing in a young receiver and pairing him with a talent like Josh will always be the right decision for your franchise. Keon has a lot of potential as well and is an all-around good receiver. The Bills also went ahead and signed former receiver from Detroit, Quandrecuscus. Cephas was indefinitely suspended for gambling after being released by the Lions in April 2023. The league took a 2020 5th-round draft pick after it was announced he was gambling on NFL games. This definitely is a more controversial signing, but nonetheless, the Bills need receivers, and being able to add a guy like this who is given a second chance, you hope he learned his lesson and helps out the receiver room that needs as much help as it can get. Cephas never really did much in Detroit. He made 22 appearances over 3 seasons before his suspension. He has recorded 568 yards and 4 touchdowns on 37 receptions in his entire career. He totaled 628 offensive snaps as a line and ran on special teams as well. It definitely will be interesting to see what the Bills can do with this signing, as he's a 26-year-old receiver. The Bills have a solid receiver group and have a talented quarterback in Josh Allen, obviously, so it'll be interesting to see what they do. The Bills had a heartbreaking finish to their season last year, so you hope they can just take this and rebuild properly. Like I mentioned, they lost a lot of the star names from this team, and a lot of fans were really concerned in the direction this team was going, but I believe the Bills made all the right choices in this year's draft. Keon Coleman is going to elevate this offense a ton. The Bills, I would just say, need to look at some undrafted free agents for the offensive line. But last year in the playoffs, the Bills had so many injuries. They had so many injuries up front too, protecting Josh Allen. So when you look at when the Bills are able to add a talented receiver to what Josh Allen is able to do with a good one, it's definitely the right decision you make. Like I mentioned, they had so many other chances to draft multiple receivers but didn't, which was a little surprising. And it was also surprising when they traded with the Chiefs, because why are you helping the Chiefs? Did you not remember what happened the last time you gave up your pick? So that's always a little concerning, but they played their cards right and did exactly what they wanted to do the whole time. They already were looking at Keon Coleman prior to the draft and during the combine. Like I mentioned, he doesn't have the fastest 40-yard dash. I believe he ran a 4.6 or a 4.7, but drafting a guy like Keon Coleman is exactly what you need to do for your franchise that needs receivers badly. After losing your all-pro wide receiver in Stephon Diggs, which a lot may say he's the reason why this wide receiver wasn't clicking at all and the chemistry was down, so maybe having him off the team is going to be a good thing. Overall, it'll just be interesting to see what they do and how they progress this season after losing a lot of pieces, but they went ahead and drafted so well. Comment down below what you think of the Bills draft this year. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and turn on notifications so you never miss a Bills video or any type of video at all.